right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is 5 p.m. West Coast time, 2 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. All right, everybody, it's not really 5 o'clock. It's 5:07. I know, I'm super late. And Elaine is just like, oh, actually not Elaine. Elaine is here. And by the way, Elaine, hello. And Shock, I read that. I've done bad job of cooking. Now you must eat all your mistakes. Dude, we will talk about that. But before we talk about that, I want to explain. Okay, so, eMusic got probably a little bit confused, rightfully so, because something happened that was confusing. So I started the stream late anyway. Like, we started late to begin with. Like, that just happened, right? But after I started late, I realized, oh no, I don't have my toggle. Okay, so when I stream on Saturdays, I turn off the toggle to YouTube so it only streams on Twitch. And I forgot to turn the toggle back to the YouTube to show on YouTube. So I was like, oh no, I need to do that. So then I went and did that, but then I wasn't sure if I needed to restart the stream in order for it to catch. So I had started the stream that in theory was on Twitch only, may have gone to YouTube as well, I don't really know. Turned on the YouTube, stopped the stream, and then restarted the stream. All very quickly. And so eMusic was like, wait, it says the stream ended, but the stream is still streaming. I don't understand. Which was very rightful. Of course you didn't understand, because it was a mess of a mess that was going on right at that second. Hopefully, however, everybody is still here. It looks like everybody's still here. It looks like that we've got the chats coming from both ends. So, that, in theory, has been taken care of. Hey, Pussycat, how you doing today? Good to see you here. Now, in regards to what Shock just said, guys, don't you hate it when you do that? You're like, I'm gonna be useful in the kitchen, and I'm gonna make my foods with what we've got, and I'll be good and competent, because I know how to be good and competent in the kitchen. And then you go and you make stuff, and you're like, wow, I was incompetent in the kitchen. Incompetent in the kitchen. Oh no, eMusic, the notification is still over my face? Okay, we're gonna definitely have to look into that. And Shock, yeah, I figured you were stuck home without your chef, as it were. And so and so of course now you have to eat all your mistakes, right? So this is what I end up doing when I make really stupid crummy stuff, right? I'll eat it and I'll just be like, okay, I'm done eating it now, because like it's only so good and I can't eat it all. So then I've got leftovers, and so then it's like, okay, so I've got leftovers that I need to eat, and I need to make these leftovers better. How can I make these leftovers better? And it's like, well, maybe I should add rice, or maybe I should add, more cheese, or maybe I should whatever. And then it's just like, oh, so basically what you're just doing is taking what you already didn't like and making more of it. So now you have to eat more of what you didn't like to begin with, which sounds like exactly what you did. You weren't happy with the hamburgers when he made them, and now you put them in eggs, didn't help. Right, so you already didn't like it, and so what did you do? You made more of something of that you ended up not liking. Serious as a heart attack, my friend. That is exactly. I need to just learn to throw away that. It's like, I don't like it, I don't want to eat it, just throw it in the compost. I need to learn to do that. But girls my size have a real hard time throwing perfectly good food that I had to pay for in the compost. Now, in regards to the weirdness and such, I don't know what's going on with the weirdness and such. So, what I'm gonna do, well, first what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this. Let's get the party started. Boop. Alrighty, and then what we're gonna do, let's see, we have a couple things that we can do. But you know what? I think we're going to stick to a classic. I'm going to show you a little kitten video while I go in the background and see what's going on. So, this is a video that I didn't make. This is a video that was taken on a cell phone that obviously had either a dirty lens or not a very good camera. I don't really know. But it's kittens, and that's what matters. Boop. Alright, good. It sounds like eMusic, everything's good on your end. I went and fiddled and faddled and figured some things out. Well, I didn't really figure anything out. It looked like everything was okay. It did look, though, like the very short YouTube stream. Well, basically, when I learned some things. So, it looks like once I toggle on which this is stuff you guys don't even care about, but I'm going to tell you anyway. On the restream, when I realized, oh, I don't have YouTube going, once I toggled it on, YouTube immediately started. And then when I stopped the Twitch out of fear that YouTube hadn't started, that stopped it. So it looked like there was 2 live events, sort of, but one of them's not really live because it's only like 8 seconds long, and then the other one is the real one, and that's the one that's running. So let's see here. Yes, Shock, when you start your international streaming star career, you'll need to know this stuff. Exactly. And you probably are well on your way to your international stardom, what with your little shorts. And I've only gotten 1 short up yet, but today I have another short that I'm hoping to get out. But here's the thing, I've got work that I have been putting off for a really long time, and I kind of actually need to do the work. And the reason why I need to do the work is because I actually told my boss that I was gonna get it done this weekend, and now she's got this strange expectation of the work actually being done after this weekend. And I've been putting off this work for a couple months now, so it's a pretty big job. It's not really something I can whip out in only an hour. So we'll see if I'm going to do what gets me paid that I don't want to do, or if I'm gonna do what I want to do. I think we already know I'm gonna do what I want to do, but maybe if I say this out loud and I can be accountable, there we go. That's it. And you put up a soggy vulture today. Oh, I'll have to check that up. Yeah, you're just putting up any kind of stuff for shorts. Yeah, that's really what you need to do. But I don't. All my videos are super long, and then I can't decide what the shortest short of the short I want to play is. So then I'm stuck with a long instead of a short. And hey, Picola T, so good to see you. You're just here for a few minutes, heading to community theater. Fantastic. Community theaters are wonderful, especially when community theaters like the Renton Carco Theater in Renton, Washington, rent out the place to people like Andy Bumatai and James Monet and Augie T. Special guest MC. That's me. That's right. 300-person theater in Renton, Washington is where August 19th that mainland show is going to be, the first mainland show, first show on the continental United States since the pandemic for Andy Bumatai, and we are super stoked to greet him here. And I hope that you guys will find a way to make it to the Pacific Northwest. I know that not everybody is super wealthy, so they can just take a weekend trip to wherever. I have done that before, and I felt like such a rock star. I understand that it is a flippin' privilege to be able to just fly out for a show. But if you guys at all have the opportunity to get that privilege to just fly out for a show, I think that it will be worth the while, because there'll be a lot of people. And Picola T, you know what? Compared to calling roller derby, emceeing that show is in theory nothing. That is very true. Way less skill when it comes to introducing people. However, when it comes to super highlighted on my resume, this gig is going to be the Andy Bumatai, James Monet. It's going to be way higher on the resume than the roller derbing officiating and announcing. Mostly because roller derbing isn't a thing, but roller derby as well, also not going to be as high on my resume as this particular gig. And yeah, super excited. But another thing, oddly enough, that I am excited about, and I know that in the realm of things to be excited about, it's a little bit strange, but let's see here. Oh wait, hold on. Shock. A guy from Hawaii who was at Balticon was shocked that your husband's wife was hanging out with Andy. Yeah, we really are supremely lucky, because to the rest of the world, Andy Bumatai is a flippin' celebrity, right? I mean, he's a big deal. And, people like us were I was just talking to Andy the other day on lines, and Andy said something really funny, and we can act like we actually know the guy, and in a way we kind of do. It's just, I don't know, we're so flippin' fortunate to have stumbled upon this community, and that Andy is so accessible, so kind, so giving to his fans like us. And yeah, Picola T, don't worry, when I'm going to be emceeing, I have no doubt in my mind that I'll be making up my own words right and left. But that's okay, because Hawaiians know how to make up words. In fact, I got this beautiful Aloha in Washington shirt off of the Hawaiians in Washington group. And the reason why I got it wasn't because of this. I mean, this is a beautiful saying. Not going to lie. It's a beautiful saying. But the reason why I got it was because on the side, it says this. Wait, okay, well, it says this, but it's upside down. Hold on, there we go. And I know that, there we go. Shock says it just right. And so, Shaka Yufaka is sort of a made-up word, and I'm wearing it on my sleeve, and it makes me happy. And so, Shock, well, it's not necessarily getting starstruck as it is acknowledging that, there are a lot of people who really would enjoy to be in Andy's company, even if just online for the show. like the simple fact that we have access to them for a lot of people is kind of mind-blowing. Whether or not you get giddy when, you know, you see that he's calling you on the phone or whatever is a different story. But it still is, for a lot of people, we take for granted just how much of a regular guy he is, actually. Whereas other people who have grown up with him, it's just like, that's flipping Hawaii's, like, you know, Robin Williams or whatever, only he's still alive and stuff. And I know, tasteless joke, I just couldn't really think of someone of the same era. I'm not a good person on the spot. And let's see here. Yeah, shock. Well, I mean, I'm the one who didn't recognize Wesley Snipes for 30 minutes while entranced by his tailoring. That actually sounds like something that I would do too, with a actor especially. You know, it's just like you look at something and you're just enthralled by it. And for me to be entranced with tailoring, which says to me, shock, it must have been really good. Because, like, that's not really your scene, right? You're not a clothing snob the way I'm not. But, you know, when you see a good piece of tailoring and even people who don't know when people who can't even tell can tell, you know it's a good suit, right? And I'm in the same boat as you, Shock. Like, I know nothing about nothing. But even I know, oh, that's something. Like, that is not a cheap suit. And whoever's in that not cheap suit is not cheap. You know? So yeah, I totally get it. It's like, this is not my scene, but even I can tell that is an impressive scene. Whatever that is impressive. But speaking of getting excited and impressed about things, this is something I got. This is something that I got earlier this week, and I kind of got excited about it because I've been hoping that people would do them, and of course, even though C Honda doesn't get a lot of time to spend here live, C Honda has a tendency not only to watch every single episode after it's been run, but she oftentimes, usually, more often than not, leaves a comment as well on the YouTube channel, the YouTube page, which is super awesome. C Honda is, though not, hey, C Honda, there you are. C Honda is not necessarily one of my mods because she is everybody else's mod, but she is dedicated, and she sent us a drop. So here is one of the drops that C Honda sent. Boop.
There's always a lot of laughter. We chatter with statter, with mad statter. Enjoy, everybody. Shaka.
See, you guys, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. If you want to send me a little drop, now Shock has already sent me a little drop before, so she's off the hook. But if she wants to send me another one, or if anybody wants to send me one, I will happily show that. And by the way, Cindy Krause, I don't know if I said hello when you were in the house, so it's good to see you. And then let's see here, E-Music. I saw a man in Hawaii dressed in a very nice suit that actually fit him. I teased him merciless. Then I found out he was the CEO of Home Street Bank, and so that's really quite funny, E-Music. And I hope that you continue to make fun of him after you found out that he was the CEO of Home Street Bank, because honestly, I would have a hard time not making fun of him once I found out just who he was. But that's just me. Now, Gil Soto, or wait, was that hold on. Andre, thank you so much. Hey, Andre, you're here. Thank you so much for doing the gift sub to Gil Soto. And let's see here. Cindy Krause, do we have to turn the phone sideways? Oh, for the drop, you mean? I would like it if you did, but I don't know. I mean, I can live with it, I guess, without, but I would prefer the horizontal. It is better that way. And, oh, eMusic, you became close friends with him instead of, see, I would have just mocked him and then he would have hated me. So. So, you're a better person than I am, I guess. And so, so let's see here. You did have to rotate the video for your Soggy Vulture short today. I learned how to do that in the video editing software, so now I can take horizontals and shape them into verticals. But I still think it's just better to take it in the we're talking about the shorts now, by the way. I think it's better to take the shorts just straight in the vertical. That just might be for me and my aiming purposes, because I'm a beginner. That's what it boils down to. Oh, you took the short in your camera, not your phone, and the phone, right, and the phone doesn't know. Gotcha. And Andre, you got a second fancy camera, and now you need to learn how to use it. And Chuck, you meant you meant the camera doesn't know. I had a feeling that's what you meant, but I didn't want to quote you wrong. But that makes more sense than what you actually did right. So, yeah, there we go. As you can tell, you guys, today is a little cottywampus, a little hamajang, a little all sorts of messed up, basically. I wasn't feeling very good this morning. Tried to do some work, ended up laying back down, and then I fell asleep, and then I woke up and was like, wow, I've got a show to do, and I don't really have a whole lot for it. So, yeah, here we have it. Shock, wow, I can sleep? Yes, I can sleep. That is the one thing that I can do a little too well. In fact, I have been known to sleep for more than 14 hours in a day, and trust me, you might be jealous about that, but you really shouldn't be, because nothing gets done when you're in bed for 14 hours in a day. Well, actually, that's not true. The one thing that gets done when you're laying in bed for 14 hours a day is your flippin' sciatica starts to act up. That's the one thing that gets done. But now that you're not working, you are getting better at sleeping. Well, that's good. It sounds like your work was maybe a little too more stressful than you were willing to admit. And let's see here. Oh, Cindy Krause, you just made strawberry, coffee, and chocolate ice cream for a small barbecue tomorrow. I hope these are separate batches. Yeah, I hope these are separate batches, but they all sound delicious. Coffee ice cream is probably one of my favorite favorite flavors of ice cream ever. Oh, in fact, you guys, Shock, you were a frog in a pot of water. Yeah, there you go. Didn't know you were dying till you're almost dead, as it were. But Cindy, okay, 3 batches of ice cream, chocolate, coffee, strawberry. Yummy. Now, you guys, I guess I'm gonna say this is in Las Vegas, but I don't know for certain. But there's some place that has turned croissant. Okay, do you remember the cronut, the croissant donut? It was a cross between a croissant and a donut. Okay, this bakery place has turned the croissant donut. They've varied it, and they made it into an ice cream cone. So it's a cone of sweet croissant donut-y cone. It's an ice cream cone, but it's made of donut croissant, whatever. And then they fill it with coffee ice cream, and then they inject it with a shot of espresso. And so it's their coffee and donuts ice cream cone. I think it might, like, I don't know if it's like named after, if it's like, the cop special, coffee and donuts. But I saw that on the interwebs the other night. And, there's really not a lot of ice cream foodie things that make me go, oh, I want that in my mouth right now. But that flippin' coffee ice cream in the donut cone with the coffee. Oh, it sounded so good. Like I said, I don't even know where you can get it, but I want it. And so if anybody ever sees one, I think they might be in Vegas. Make note of where it's at to let me know, because yum. And then let's see here. So, shock, I was left with a batch of low-carb vanilla with real Marashi cherry ice cream. The Marashis trash the carb count, but the bird will come out for high perch to eat it, even if she can see the dog. So, well, that's a good start, because I know that your bird and the dog, or I know that your bird is feeling very strange about the dog. The dog probably is unaware of the bird's existence, I'll bet. The dog probably couldn't care less about the bird, but the bird is just like, that is a black fluffy thing that I am not used to. No. And let's see here. Pussycat, your wife is sipping a white Russian you made her. She said it tastes good and very sweet. That sounds really yummy, but, Pussycat, there is a dude at the bar that I go to that drinks a white Russian with Chambord. So it's got a little bit of raspberry in it as well. I think it sounds like it has potential. It also sounds like it's a little bit too sweet. But I'm putting this out there for you because I know that you are or were a bartender. And perhaps you have heard of this variant, perhaps you have not heard of this variation, but in case you had not, I'm just planting that seed. And apparently the people who have tried the Chambord in the White Russian, they've all said that it's pretty good. So there you go, just putting that out there. And it looks like Shock has been searching the Reddit stupid foods, and it looks like there is a coffee in a donut cone with a shot of on Reddit. She's got a link there. I'm not going to press that link yet, but I'm willing to bet that it is exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, Shock, you wrote Chambord in all caps. What does that? Why did you do that? Do you not know what that is? And yes, Shock, exactly. The shot is in a syringe. And okay, you used to... you used to like Chambord. Got it. I mean, maybe I don't got it, but I have an idea that I might have. Yeah, and it is actually really too sweet now. And, let's see here. It's from the donut bar. It looks like a dessert in a croissant cone with a syringe of espresso. Yeah, basically, there you go. Okay. Pussycat used Tito's vodka and Kahlua and vanilla cream. Okay, all right, there you go. Not just regular cream. Nope, he had to get fancy pants. Vanilla creams. There we go. And so, Shock, you did not have an experience. Okay, I anticipated when you said you used to drink it that maybe there was an experience. But, good. I'm glad there was no experience, shall we say. All right, so you guys, this is a long weekend. I'm kind of surprised that anybody is here today. Perhaps the weather that I'm seeing throughout the states, which is less than ideal in a lot of places, is keeping people inside and on the stream, which I'm super stoked for. But today is Memorial Day weekend, and Memorial Day does have a reason behind it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video that I made going through the National Cemetery, the Cemetery of Heroes, the military cemetery that's in Kent, Washington, and we'll have a couple Lono tunes behind it. But this is basically the final resting place for those who serve, who've chosen the National Cemetery as the place that they would like to be, their remains to remain, as it were. All right, so let's take a little drive through a cemetery on this pre-Memorial Day, and then we'll get back to the chatter, shall we say?
It's the launch of another space shuttle. Once again we'll put man into space. As he floats amongst the twilight, he'll look back and say, oh my, what a human race. While the heavens look at us, we're sleeping, and we'll dream up our own paradise. We'll float over mountains and valleys. The oceans, they are so nice. We've traveled through sunsets for centuries. We're amazed at eclipse of the moon, and looking back at 1975, those days gone by too soon. Then the astronaut looked out of his window, and he prayed as he floated through space. He said, God, will you ever forgive us? My, what a human race. It's the launch of another space shuttle. Once again we'll put man into space. As he floats amongst the twilight, he'll look back and say, oh my, what a human race. tausani o kona aina imi kai kana ya Yesu olai.
What?
All right, so that is our somber video through the National Cemetery for this Memorial Day or pre-Memorial Day weekend video extravaganza, as it were. And looks like we've got Keone in the house, although I do believe that it is Monday on where Keone is hanging out, although I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. And if it is indeed Monday, then I'm guessing that Keone is back home from his travels, which is great. I'm so glad that you're back home and safe. So thank you so much for being here today. And I guess it is a little earlier than your usual hanging out with us with Andy at his 6 p.m. location. So so glad you got up there, got up a little early for us. And let's see here, shocked because by now the Philippines will have picked up the on-call number for the Linux team. I don't know what that means, but I have a feeling that's a reminiscence from your last job. And guess what, Shock? That's not your job anymore. You're sort of retired, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. You don't have to worry about that at all. And, okay, so, what I figured we could, let's see here. Oh wait, Shock, what it means is I used to wait for 8 p.m. on Sunday so you wouldn't have to worry about that. Oh, okay. But, oh, it's 8 p.m. on your, right, gotcha. I was like, but it's not 8 p.m. yet. It is on your side of the world. And let's see here. Huzzy Cat, your wife's grandfather was a Pearl Harbor survivor and a B-17 captain for World War II. And your son is a veteran too. yeah, I'm not at all surprised to hear that that a Florida boy grew up to join the military, just similar to a Washington State boy growing up to join the military. Two very military heavy states. And let's see, Andre, you remember going to St. Petersburg and then showing you the mass graves. It's like one huge park and monument. It was so huge. It was scary how many people died in that war, in that city. Well, you know, I mean, cities are epicenters of the populations, and so once big cities start getting tiny because of war, yeah, you end up with big parks that are graves, which is just horrifying. I mean, seriously, that is, I mean, it's kind of cool that they made a park out of it, but that's also flipping horrifying, dude. I mean, yeah, so then again, you know, guess what are you going to do? You're not going to want to build an office building over it, I suppose. Then your fax machines would just be too haunted. Right, yeah, exactly. A memorial park, I hope, not having swing sets in the mortuary. Exactly. So, speaking of Florida, as it were, I thought we could talk a little bit about the upcoming transfer that will be happening hopefully later this year in 2023. Maybe it'll have to be put off until 2024, as they haven't gotten the precise location for the sea pen yet, let alone built it. But I thought we could shock. Are we ceding Florida to mainland China? No, not that I know of. But if we do, I hope that it happens after what I'm about to talk about happens. But hold on, Keone's coming in. Blackheath in England is a town that is built over mass graves. Oh, that was caused by the Black Death. And it's called Blackheath. Okay, now Keone, I don't expect you to have this answer, but you might. Was it called that? Was it called Blackheath before? Okay, so many questions. How am I going to ask this question? I guess, is it because it is built on top of the graves from the Black Death? Is that where the name came from? Or was that town sort of already in existence with that name prior to the building of it? And yeah, exactly. Europe is so full of history and dead people. I mean, you know. And Andre, would mainland China do well against FloridaMan? I think the only reason why, now I'm not Vegas, so I don't have odds. Okay, so it was built after the Black Death, and yes, it did come from that event. Okay. So here's the deal with a FloridaMan versus Chinaman, actually. Okay, for lack of a better, FloridaMan versus Chinaman. I think there are more men from China, so by sheer numbers, the Chinese men would win. However, the FloridaMan, in all their various ways, shapes, and forms, FloridaMan will put up a darn good fight. I mean, the numbers might be stacked against them, but they are going to do better. FloridaMan will do better against mainland China than Vegas gives them odds for. FloridaMan will do very well. They will do very, very well. You know, more better than you would think is what I would think. And so, so there we have it. And let's see here. All right, so what I was talking about before we got distracted by the most important debate, which is FloridaMan versus mainland Chinaman, is the transfer of the orca Tokitae from, what is it, the Sea Life, Sea Aquarium, Sea World? I don't know what the aquarium is called, but the tiniest tiniest orca tub in the United States still has an orca living in it, and she is slated to come back home to the Salish Seas once again, 50 years old, 50 plus years old, over 50 years in captivity. She is still using the calls of her pod that are the southern residents in the Salish Sea. And so I thought we would watch a little clip of what's a longer series that will be coming out. King 5 is a news station that has been covering this topic for the last week and a half or so very diligently, and they are creating a longer hour-long program in regards to the transfer of Tokitae. This is just a clip from what I presume will be part of that larger broadcast. It's a timeline. It's basically a timeline of what has happened and what they're planning on happening. And yes, 50 years, C. Honda. In 1970 was when she was captured off of Whidbey Island in the Salish Sea. Salish Sea, for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, is what is the indigenous name for the Puget Sound and the inner waterways of the Puget Sound, the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and then the inner passage between Vancouver Island, the Queen Charlotte Islands, etc. That is the Salish Sea. For thousands upon thousands of years, like over 10,000, possibly close to 20,000 years, human beings have been living in this area, and this is where the orca was taken from. And so I would like to share with you just the starting of this process that I will be talking about until it happens, and then I will probably still be talking about it after it happens. But for now, let's just learn a little bit about the plans that the Lummi tribe have for Tokitae, the scientists have for Tokitae, and the public is hoping for Tokitae. Now, let me make it clear, not everybody is on board with this. There are several people in Florida, including her former veterinarian, that are absolutely against this transfer. They think it will hurt her. They think it is not in her best interest, and they think that she would be better off in the tiny, unnatural pool in Florida until the day she dies. Tokitae's mother is still swimming wild. Tokitae's mother is 97 years old. Tokitae is 50 plus years old. Her former veterinarian quit when this announcement was made. He absolutely disagrees with this plan of action, and as far as he's concerned, the best thing for her is to remain in captivity. I disagree, and luckily, lots of other people do. So, let's just watch just a little bit. Boop.
The capture of whales near Whidbey Island.
King 5 was there investigating the captures. The people collecting the orcas for aquariums were using planes to spot them and explode. You know her name, Tokitae, the last surviving orca violently taken from Puget Sound in the 1970s.
On a summer day in 1970, King 5 investigative reporter Don McGaffin is covering the capture of whales near Whidbey Island.
King 5 was there investigating the captures. The people collecting the orcas for aquariums were using planes to spot them and explosives to separate the adults from the babies.
Several orcas have died during these roundups.
Tokitae's journey has not been easy for her or those trying to bring her home.
This is her home, not in Miami in a cement tank. That's not where she belongs.
The Laktamesh people call her Scally Choctonut. Members of Lummi Nation have fought for her release since she was captured, and to this day continue to pray for her safe return.
It's been a long journey, so think about if it's been long for us, what it's been like for her.
Tokitae was taken from her pod in Whidbey Island's Penn Cove in August 1970.
It was a brutal experience for the whales to go through. They took out as many of the small ones as they could.
She was believed to be just 4 years old. Tokitae was then sold to the Miami Seaquarium. According to the Whale Sanctuary Project, she was sold for about $20,000. She arrived there on September 24th, 1970.
She was very depressed. She wouldn't eat. She wouldn't perform.
In no time, Toki was performing for hundreds, but under a new stage name, Lolita. King 5 has obtained video from the 90s of Tokitae working with trainers. She's seen launching herself onto a platform in the tank. In another move, she's seen propelling herself into the air and splashing back into the water.
You know you're not alone.
In September 2020, tribal members of the Lummi Nation went to Miami to mark 50 years since Tokitae arrived at the Seaquarium. In August 2021, the Dolphin Company purchased the Seaquarium, and as a condition of the sale, the company had to retire Tokitae. A month later, the U.S. Department of Agriculture released a report showing the conditions she's living in are impacting her health. She was being fed, quote, poor quality rotten food, the water in her tank was dirty, and her trainers, quote, disregarded veterinary instructions to make her perform despite injuries. Then in March 2023, the day so many had been waiting for, the announcement that Tokitae will be coming home.
She is ready to come home. Her family is ready for her to come home.
Erica Zuko, King 5 News.
Drinking warm water before bed restores healthy blood sugar levels and eliminates type 2 in weeks.
All right, so that is the quick little update, as it were. And right, exactly, Andre. When the USDA is even just like, no, it's really bad. And Pussycat, yes, SeaWorld and the Seaquarium people all claim this was used for educational purposes, and to a degree, they are correct. I mean, I'm not suggesting that the education that we got from this was worth the price that we have, that was worth the cost that we're now paying for it. By separating and killing off the L pods and the K pods offspring, they did basically decimate the future of our local orca populations to such a degree that they are no longer able to breed and sustain their numbers. So that's a problem that I'm not sure that they had really taken into consideration when harvesting the animals. But you are correct. There is absolutely some incredibly important scientific research that has been done thanks to the collection of these wild beasts, because prior to 1970, we really didn't know much about the orcas. We kind of thought of them as one group of whales that all, looked alike or whatever. Well, as it turns out, that's not the case at all. I mean, the orcas really do look an awful lot alike, but they are very different communities in very different parts of the world. In the United States, just in the Salish Sea, we've got three different varieties. We've got the southern residents, the J pod, the L pod, and the K pod. We've got the northern residents. Then we've got the Biggs transients, which aren't as transient as we once thought, but we already gave them that name, so there's that version. And then you've got the deep ocean dwelling ones, the ones that go after the sharks, etc., etc. And that's not even talking about the Norwegian and European versions of the orcas, or the Mediterranean versions of the orcas that are right now, White Gladys and her family, her pod, are pissed. They're taking down sailboats. They're taking down any kind of thing that is in their way. And no, they are slapping tail and taking no names, man. And Pussycat, exactly. And then the Atlantic Ocean also. Yeah, orcas are literally worldwide. And they're realizing now that each population is very distinct, not only genetically, but in behaviors, in hunting, in food sources, etc., etc. So before the collection of these species happened, it really was sort of assumed that they were all of the same ilk. They all just sort of traveled around the world and went from one place to another. And that is absolutely not the case at all. And so one can argue that some valuable information has been gleaned with this 50-year-long experiment that we as humans have been taking on these orcas. But I think it's equally safe to assume that at this point, any scientific knowledge that we've gained from keeping these creatures in captivity has reached its max. Anything else would be going against nature, in the sense of crossbreeding a Norwegian Atlantic orca with a Mexican Southern Pacific orca. You know, two orcas that would never, ever, ever crossbreed in real life. You know, we have the capability to do that. But what's the point in that? Now you've ended up with a huge offspring that you need to take care of, has no ability, has no education from either of its pods, has no ability to take care of itself in the wild. So lots and lots of education has happened, but I think we've maybe reached the max of that. And so there's no longer any reason to keep them in captivity, other than there are some specimens that literally will need to be kept in captivity their whole life because they are not wild born. They were not wild born. They were not wild caught. They don't have a home pod to go back to. And unfortunately, those orcas really are going to be doomed for the rest of their life in some sort of captivity. What I think the whale activists are going for now for whales that are in situations that they don't have home waters to be returned to, they don't have home clans to be returned to. I believe that they are trying to come up with a whale, a large ocean mammal, restoration park, as it were, an aqua ranch that is a penned in area that is out in the natural open seas, so these whales can have more room to swim, or in more enriched environments, so they've got stuff to do. They'll have the ability to learn how to hunt. Never probably with the idea of letting them back out in the wild again, but at least it'll be better conditions. And I want to say that they're considering a place up in Nova Scotia for this generalized whale rescue compound. However, Tokitae is a different story entirely. Tokitae, she still has a pod. They've identified the pod. They know the pod. They know who the mom is. And so what they're hoping with Tokitae is that they can actually hopefully reintroduce her to her home waters and ideally back to her pod. Nobody is saying that the goal is to release her fully in the wild, back to her pod, because nobody knows if her pod will still remember her, recognize her, or accept her. This is all an experiment. We don't know. But reintroductions have happened successfully before, and she's been 50 years in captivity. Is she even strong enough to be in the wild? We don't know. There are so many unknowns right now, but ideally, if everything works out right, reintroducing her to her pod isn't off the table. It's sort of a pipe dream, as it were, but at one point, getting Tokitae out of the seaquarium to home waters was just a pipe dream as well. And that part is going to happen within the next year, possibly before 2023 is over. And so this is happening at a rapid pace, and the tribes there's multiple tribes, scientific agencies, federal agencies, state agencies are all working in conjunction to make sure this huge undertaking is done properly. And basically she she's kind of a guinea pig for what could be, could happen next for other whales that are in captivity. And yes, Andre, I don't know if Tokitae talks to her dolphin friend, but Andre has mentioned several times in the chat today that Tokitae does have a dolphin friend in her tank, because they are social animals after all, living in solitary. Even the Seaquarium people were just like, well, I guess that's not cool. She probably needs a friend. And so they do have a dolphin. I'm not sure actually if it's a dolphin or if it's a porpoise. I want to say it's a white-sided Pacific porpoise, but definitely don't quote me on that. Either way, the porpoise will be traveling with her and will be released with her into the Salish sea waters as well. So basically her and her celly are going to be transferred to a different, better facility. And so she won't be alone. She will have a familiar face with her and in her waters, etc. And who knows, maybe by the time both the Pacific dolphin and Tokitae get acclimated, there's going to be other, marine life in their pen. There's going to be octopus, there's going to be crabs, there's going to be sharks, there's going to be all sorts of things. And so perhaps they won't need to be so dependent on one another. But whether or not she talks to her dolphin friend, I have no idea, Andre. My best guess is if she does, they probably, have their own little secret language. And so let's see here. Yeah, Pussycat, exactly. We do it to people. It's called solitary confinement, or better known as jail. Precisely. And Sea Honda, like a pen they had in the movie Meg. I don't know what movie you're talking about. And so, I don't know what you're talking about. But let's see here. Meg? I expected you to say Free Willy. But no. And then E-Music, on a lighter note, the twisted black flimsy material behind me looks like I'm hanging a bra. Yeah, that's what I thought somebody said, but then it went away. Yeah, no, I don't have any bras. I don't have any bras like that. It's just some little dark netting, because this side of the backdrop, painting, whatever, canvas, this side of the canvas is really light, and it reflects a lot of light weirdly. And so I had to do something to create the cameras didn't like all this white right here. And the cameras didn't really know what the heck to do with all that reflective white in comparison to the rest of the colors. And so I had to throw something on it. Otherwise everything got all messed up if I didn't have something on it. And so yeah, it's my fake fish netting. See, that's what I was like, well, it's surfboards. We'll just pretend it's fish netting. But yeah, no, other people think it might be a bra. Okay, fair enough. But no. My bras are not as frilly or fancy as that. And oh, shuck, I should put some fish in it. There we go. I should maybe go grab. That's a good idea, actually. I'll go see if I have something that can that I can maybe do some origami fish with or something like that. And let's see here. So Cindy Krause going up. Cindy Krause saying, I would think as long as someone in the pod is in the pod who would know her is possible. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Cindy. We're hoping, that's what everybody is hoping, because she still speaks the dialect. Every pod has its own dialect, and she still clearly speaks with the dialect of the L pod. I can't remember if she was from the L pod or the K pod. I think she was from the L pod. But she clearly speaks with the dialect of the southern resident L pod. And so which is why they know what pod she came from. Because even though they have video of her being taken from her mother, etc., at the time, they hadn't done a lot of research. In 1970, they didn't even know about southern residents versus northern residents. They didn't know about the pods within the residential communities. They didn't know that was a K pod and that was an L pod and that was a J pod. They didn't know about all that. Whereas now they do know all that. And so, and so they are hoping that someone will recognize, like, hey, I don't recognize the voice, but I recognize they're speaking our language. Who knows our language? Let's go check that out, right? But the thing is not that long ago, maybe a decade ago, there was a northern resident orca that they were able to identify exactly which pod she came from. They were able to even to identify what matrilineal line she came from within that pod. And the northern resident orca somehow got lost in the South Salish Seas. And so they were trying to get her back to her northern Canadian waters pod. So they transport her up, and they did a whole lot of what they're going to do with Tokitae. And then they put out the calls. They artificially called her people to where that orca was penned in the natural wild pen. And her, her pod came through, and they talked a little bit. But then her pod left. And it was a different matrilineal line of her pod that eventually ended up adopting her in. But the actual matrilineal line that she came from, they rejected her. Even though they came and they checked her out, but they were like, no, you can't hang with us. And they went on their own ways. Because I think at this point they had released her from the pen. I don't exactly remember the precise time on this, but basically, just because they recognize you doesn't mean this is what they learned with the previous re-exposure. Just because your pod recognizes you doesn't mean that you're going to be welcomed back into the pod. So there's that unknown factor as well. And then, as it turned out with this one that was rejected by the matrilineal line, a different line within the same pod was like, come hang with us. You're good. They're stupid. You're good. Come on. And so they did, get back into the family unit, as it were, but a different family unit. So, Cindy, an alien abduction story from her point of view, kinda, actually, really, when you put it that way. And by the way, Gina, I don't know if I even said hello to you. You came in a long time ago saying you were going to be Kay. And I saw that, meant to say hi, but I've just been bala'au for the rest of that since then. So sorry about that, guys. And let's see here. Shock, I should get a big Nemo fish, and it'll be high contrast and unambiguous that it's a fish net. That's a good point. Next time I'm out, looking at squishy toys or something, I'll see if I can find a cute little, Nemo fish. Jeez Louise. All right, so, let's see here. Okay, so Andre, you just saw that orcas of BC who are fish eaters, that would be the residents, seem to have dolphins hanging around them, so maybe there's a future for orca and dolphin friendship started in captivity. Perhaps. Although, orcas are a type of dolphin, so, they're not a whale, they're a type of dolphin, and so they could already be better friends than we even know, right? And, Shock, well, I don't want to get too big of a plushie. Gotta make sure that the net's big enough for the fish, right? Right. And, I can print a Nemo fish off the interwebs and pin it on the bra. Well, that's a good idea, actually. That's a very good idea. If I don't see, there we go. That's our Shaka bra. Oh, that's so silly, but I love it. But yeah, if I don't see a Nemo fish at the dollar store, I might do that. Because I was thinking, now you guys, is this a good idea or is this a stupid idea? I think this is a good idea. So, Andy Bumatai, we've already talked about this, but, he's coming to Renton to do the show. And I happen to have a PDF version of the poster. And so I can throw it on the interwebs and things like that. But I was thinking what I should do, right, is go to some printing place and print out a couple posters and put them up at all of the, with permission, of course, and put them up at all of like the L&L Hawaiian drive-in locations and all the other Hawaiian-oriented stores that are around the area, and basically do a little poster sweep. I haven't asked Andy if that's a good idea or not, but it seems like a good idea to me. Do you guys think that seems like a good idea? And my point is, when I go print out those posters, I can also print out the Nemo fish. That was, by the way, the connecting dot for why I switched what it seemed like I switched gears. I didn't. I mean, I did, but the connecting point was I can print out the Nemo fish and the posters. And send them to the hula halaus there. Oh, actually, though, eMusic, I don't even have to print them for that. I could just probably send them emails with that idea, or not with the idea, with the poster. So I'm making note of this right now. Send to, because the halau in Federal Way, especially, they might be super stoked. Because, you know, we know that the halau from Federal Way takes it very seriously because they went and performed at the Merry Monarch, and the halau in Federal Way Federal Way is where Iam Tongi is from now. And so the Federal Way community definitely has a very vibrant Polynesian community. And so getting word out through their halau and perhaps other venues, such a brilliant idea. I'm so glad we brought this in. So glad I brought this. eMusic, there's a Hawaiian radio show in Seattle. Contact them. I'm gonna need your help with that. Do you know what the radio station is? What the call letters are, or is it on the web? Do we know? Do we know? Is it do we know what radio station it's on? Because excuse me, I definitely want to contact them. I mean, I know that Andy wants to avoid doing radio interviews, but in order to have that happen, we need to get the word out every other way besides radio interview. So yeah, eMusic, if you happen to be able to let me know who the DJ is, maybe I can even do a web search for that. But I'm making note of the Hawaiian radio show. Cool. I'll look that up. But if you can give me any, it's at the small college there. Huh. We've got a couple small colleges. KBCS. Oh, it's in Bellevue. Oh, it's in Bellevue. Okay, that might be why I didn't know about it. Okay, cool. It's in Bellevue. That's good. So KBCS. I will definitely let them know. Because Bellevue, as it turns out, despite the look on my face when I said it, Bellevue is actually the next town over from Renton. So Bellevue and Renton are very, very, very close to one another. And so, shock, that's the one you found, might not be the one in Seattle. It probably is the one in Seattle. Bellevue is literally across Lake Washington from Seattle. They, it's what we call the East Side. And so, yeah, it is 1000% part of the Seattle metropolitan area for sure. And, all right, so we have been babbling about things and stuff. And, let's see here. Oh, Shock, you think there's a good Shotokan dojo over there? That would not surprise me at all. Like, that tracks. And Andre, been to Renton only to see the Jimi Hendrix Memorial. Yeah, I don't think the theater that Andy's going to be performing at is near that cemetery. I think I might be making that up, though. I can't remember where that cemetery is. If it's in South Renton or if it's more in the Renton Highlands. If it's in the Renton Highlands, then it's going to be very close to the theater. But I don't think it's in the Highlands. I think it's in South Renton. And so I don't think they're very close. Renton, like, spreads out. Renton goes to lots of the places. So yeah. And let's see here. So, all right. we've got about 8 minutes. And last stream, we didn't have a Lono Listening break. We've only got 8 minutes left. So we're going to have a Lono Listening break, and then we're going to wrap stuff up. And Pussycat, if your dog is here, you might want to put earplugs in your dog's ears, because it's time to talk about the traveling rocks of Molokai. That's right. All right, so, ehele pohaku.
Ehele pohaku, the traveling rocks of Molokai. Okay, sustain. Okay, Mo Mike. Key of A if you got him.
Kaulana o Molokai ia hele pohaku mai waila wa uluvehe hana mene huni ke ia pola haoli mene huni e mai a me ai one by one e hele pohaku to the other side e hele pohaku one by one e hele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. Kaulana o Molokai ia hele pohaku mai waila wa uluvehe hana mene huni ke ia pola haoli mene huni e mai a me ai one by one e hele pohaku to the other side e hele pohaku one by one e hele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. Mapule umake kai kuhome ili o pai ka hale ko inoa ele apka ko e pohaku o wailau one by one ele pohaku to the other side ele pohaku one by one ele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. Na o mauna I ke mapule umake kai kuhome ili o pai ka hale ko inoa ele aku kako e pohaku o wailau one by one ele pohaku to the other side ele pohaku one by one ele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. Mai ana kapuana Molokai ka o mea ele pohaku one by one ele pohaku to the other side ele pohaku one by one ele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other. Let's go Beriunie. Mai ana kapuana Molokai I ka o me ia ele pohaku one by one ele pohaku to the other side ele pohaku one by one ele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. hele po haku one by one. Hele po haku to the other side. Pa po haku to the other side. Traveling rocks of Molokai. E hele po aku.
All right, there we go. We got to sneak our our little Lono listening break in today, because last Wednesday we did not get it. And so let's see here. So okay, says Keone, most musicians don't make albums anymore, just basically stream or CDs. So do we still call them albums? I still call them albums. I know it's misleading because it totally sounds like you're gonna get something physical, right? But no, it's just a download. I think Lono's been referring to it as an album or a CD, even though there's no CD that's going to be made. So that's how I'm going to continue to refer to it. I do, though, think it's awesome because unlike other digital downloads, it sounds like this particular digital download is not only going to come, like, it's a digital download of the music, but it's also going to come with a digital download of, like, liner notes and stuff. So we're going to see... we're going to see the artwork that Keone had sent the artwork when you got home last night. Excellent, because I knew that, I knew that you had been out of town and that Lono was waiting for that. So there's going to be some artwork. There's going to be liner notes with lyrics, along with the music itself. And so eMusic coming in, your brother's still in the industry, calls them albums. So yeah, we're just going to call them albums. And that's what we're gonna do. So I know that this album was supposed to come out in March or something like that, but quite literally at the end of March, I can tell you guys this. At the end of March, they had this mix that was on the verge of being able to go, and 2 of the 3 guys were just like, no. And so they literally re-recorded the entire album. And so they're a couple months behind, but they didn't like it, and so they did it again. And this time they did it the way they liked. And it is a beautiful thing. And say what? You haven't bought an album in decades? Fair enough. I think most people haven't bought a physical anything in decades. Good to see you, by the way. But Lono Music, who provides all of the music basically for Chatter with Statter, he is releasing a new album this summer. I still don't know when it's going to be released properly. But the album obviously will not come in physical form. It will just be download, but it will be a chock full album of 8 full songs with lyrics, liner notes, album cover graphics and everything. So it's as close to an album as you get these days, basically. It's close as you get. And let's see here. Shock, your husband still makes physical CDs. He's picking up a few cases while he's in Baltimore, and complaining about getting them on the train, of course. And let's see here. Oh no, Kylo has promptly made the room smell like he's got to go outside. He's got to go outside and chase some rocks. Fuzzy cat, so you better take note from your doggy doo. All right, you guys, it is 2 minutes past the bottom of the hour, which means we're running late, which is pretty much what we always do here. But that's okay. Oh wait, hold on. We're talking about vinyl, so hold on. We're gonna have to rewind for a second. Keone, people will be surprised that Krung Thep, Bangkok has huge vinyl following. There's with over a dozen stores selling them in one location. No, that is awesome. And vinyl actually is coming back. They are there's like enough so that they're starting to, you know, open record pressing plants. Records luckily are getting the attention they deserve, because really the sound that an record album, wax, you know, produces is so completely different than a digital download. It's just a different animal, and I'm very glad that people are rediscovering vinyl. It really is a classic. It's a classic media source, and it makes me very happy to know that eMusic bought a record player, and Cindy Krause have a few vinyl records and a player, and say what? Wait, we've got a record player on your desktop, and it's the year of Linux on the desktop. I don't know what that means. Say what? So let's see here. Andre throwing down some gift subs. Thank you so much. And, oh, it's a geek joke? Okay, well, okay. And yes, there is a dramatic split in the industry, CDs versus vinyl. And I will not take a side on CD versus vinyl, because here's the deal. CDs are more portable and not as destructible as vinyl. I mean, they're destructible, but they're not as fragile as vinyl. On the other hand, it's vinyl. Oh, the smell, the static, the sound, the warmth, it's vinyl. It's just delicious. It's wonderful. It's delicious to your ears. And Andre, thank you for gifting that sub to Carl in Arkansas. And so there we have it. The broken needle you never remember to replace. There's pros and cons for both, you guys. There's pros and cons for both. And Keone Nunez, Prell, original shampoo, lathers in salt water, used it when was on the Hokulea. That is funny. And maybe you don't know this, Keone, because you are on the YouTube side. But you see, here on the Twitch side, I actually have an emote that is the Prell dots. See all those little green dots? Those are Prell dots, because we love to talk about Prell and use Prell. If somebody says something silly, well, we have to wash their mouth out with Prell. And so Prell is where it's at over here on Shadow of Statter. And let's see, God dang it, I did something and I messed up. And a CD is not as compact as a thumb drive. That is true. That is true, option. And so let's see here. Vinyl does wear out and degrade with each play, but it's still beautiful. It still is a beautiful sound. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And so, all right. So now that we brought out the Prell, it might be time to to close things up. So I want to thank everybody for spending time with all of us today here on Chatter with Statter. We're going to see each other again on Wednesday, I hope, at 4 p.m. Pacific. That is 4 p.m. Wednesday time. 4 p.m. West Coast time on Wednesday. And if we're lucky, we're going to see each other before that. Monday, Daily Pigeon Live with Andy Bumatai. That would be 6 p.m. West Coast time. But that's not my show, so that's not my problem. You want to see us here again? We're talking Wednesday, 4 p.m. And hopefully next Saturday, Dogma, the video of the movie will be in, and we'll be watching Dogma on Statterbox at the cinema. So, until next Wednesday, I'd like to say thank you for hanging out. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for the gift subs. Thanks for the biddies. Thank you for everything. And, yeah, there we have it, Rabbit. I'll see y'all soon. Take care.